Hey neighbors, welcome to my video for the Crafting Our Hoard playlist for the month of May. Our hosts are TOSHA from Sunflower TOSHA. We have JOANNA from JOANNA's DIY Life, and this month they chose me, Sharon from Grace's Neighbor Sharon, to be their guest host. Our channel links and a link to the playlist will be in my description box below. And there's no theme, but let's just say you're going to see some chickens. Sit back, relax, enjoy. Okay, our first project is a chicken tray. That's right. I did 2 coats of Mod Podge before we started filming. And so now we're ready to get into the decoupaging. I'm showing you the image that I chose. Actually, this video was inspired by a napkin, which I ended up not using, but I really liked the image on the napkin, and I sort of used it, as a guide when I was doing the other chickens. So this said, welcome to my kitchen, and I don't know, I was thinking this wood round was bigger than it was, so I had to get resourceful here and do like a little puzzle thing to get what I wanted onto the wood. So you see me cutting here, cutting there, fitting this here, fitting this there, until I got it figured out. I got little corners cut, I got strips cut, and then in the end I painted just the little top part. And I think I did a really good job actually of getting the colors similar to the colors on the calendar image. I even cut strips from images that weren't the chicken from other months, but because they looked the same. And that's what I'm doing right there. I'm making my little puzzle and just sort of ironing as I go. This is my Hippo heat press. It's perfect for this kind of application. And then I just come in with sandpaper. If you've been around my channel for a while, you know I like sandpaper better than using emery boards or sanding sponges. It's just what I prefer, and I like how it gets into the nooks and crannies. Now I'm just going to play with my fan brush here, and I mixed up some black, white, and burnt umber, and I'm touching the paintbrush down into different parts of what I mixed up, because I didn't like mix it to be like a smooth color. I wanted it to be like janky, And I love the fan brush because you can use it 2 different ways. You can use it flat, but you can also use the edge, and that's what I was doing just there. And I'm showing you after the fact what colors I used. So here I'm coming in with the flat end of the fan brush, and this is my Magnolia vintage white chalk paint. I'm using that because it's nice and thick and it gives good coverage on wood. But then I just used the acrylic white for the distressing. And I love coming in with my fan brush and trying to copy what's already there, and I think you did a pretty good job. So I'm just going back, gathering up more color on my paintbrush, and then doing my little lines. Now I'm looking for 4 legs here because I wanted my tray to have 4 legs, but can you believe I could not find 4 legs in all these little knobs I had? There was 3, and then one would be taller or wider or shorter. So I ended up just doing 3. I put some wood glue in the middle there, and that's going to drip down when I flip it over. And then I used my all-purpose glue around the edges because I'm a 2 glue kind of gal. And I actually did measure it. There's marks on the wood that you can't see. And I tried to make sure there was an even distance between the legs. Here's my favorite beads that I got from Amazon. And I'm going to make a border for the tray. First, I want to get these tray handle on. And again, I was having trouble finding two that matched. And I couldn't find the bag where the remainder of the handles were, so I just had to use what had got mixed in with my other stuff. I'm doing the all-purpose glue on the little parts that jut out, and then some hot glue in the middle. And since those pieces jut out, I actually just set them on the tray and pressed them into the wood to make little holes, and then I used my drill to drill holes, so when I set the handles down, they're not, raised up above the tray. They're actually flush with the tray. I'm doing 2 borders with my beads, one for either side of the handles, and I took my natural wood color and rolled those beads around in a bowl with some water and burnt umber. And then I'm coming along with my wood glue and putting it down in a couple places. Then I'll come in with my beads that I threaded onto some jute twine, and I'll get them into the wood glue, then put down some hot glue. I'll get them into the wood glue, put down some hot glue. Better looks in the final reveal. Okay, project number 2 is a floral chicken. The chicken, I believe, came from Walmart. Pressed flowers from an eBay haul, 25% off with the make an offer option. And then I have this thin wood cutting board, and I'm going to rub some burnt umber into it. I say thin wood cutting board because it's not meant to be a real cutting board. It's just meant to use for decoration. And I did both sides of the cutting board. And then, like Katie from Lady Red Crafting says, she does both sides and then picks her favorite. So I've been sort of taking note of that. And you see I've already started putting the florals on. And I'm using that chicken on the napkin for inspiration. I told you about it, the first project that I liked it, but I ended up not using it, so I used it for inspiration to create the 3 ones that I did choose for this video. So I'm getting some pretty blue and purple on the tail, and that's the only place where I'm going to do that color, and I really like that idea because it sort of pops. Parts of the chicken are going to be a little bit more neutral, so I thought this was pretty for the tail. I got the red flowers for the feet and the top of the head. And then I'll come in with some neutral colors for the rest of the body. I chose not to do a face or, do lines or paint that might separate the different parts of the chicken. I just wanted the flowers to be like the star of the show, and I think they are. So I'm going to go with pink and yellow and white as sort of neutral flowers for the rest of the body. And I'm super happy I found my tweezers because I don't know what I would have done without them. Okay, time to jazz up the little cutting board. It was looking just a little bit too bland. So I cut out the middle of one of these doilies, and it's already been Mod Podged, so I'm just going to get it on there. And then I made up some watery paint again, but I should have done it before I put it on cutting board. So this has been ironed into the Mod Podge, but now I'm wetting it, so it's lifting off the wood, and I'm just like, oh my goodness, I just messed up here. What am I going to do? But you know what? I thought I'm just going to keep going with it. And I used my hair dryer. So let's go ahead and get it dry. And just keep going. So I come in with more Mod Podge, and you can see it's still lifting up on me. I get all the Mod Podge in the middle there, and then I slowly rub it from the outside in. You know, making sure I'm getting all the little holes and edges and everything. And just being really, really careful because I didn't want to get it lifted up or torn or anything like that. And I'm glad I kept going because it actually worked out. Once the Mod Podge dried, it sort of shrunk the paper again, and then we were good to go. So we're just giving it a final iron here with my Hippo heat press. And I was just careful to go over everything, especially the edges. All right, now just go and do a quick embellishment to finish things off here. This is lamb's ear, and I get that at Walmart. I like the price, and I like how full the pick is. So I actually pulled some leaves off other parts of the pick to make it a little bit fuller. And then I used my string to actually like crisscross tie it on there. I'm always worried about things coming loose when I only use glue. And then I have a brand new burlap looking ribbon that I got from my Thistle haul. That's a like recycled store in Texas where you can also purchase online. I got buttons and wood pieces and ribbons, so I'm using that here to embellish our little decorative cutting board. I'm just doing a quick dove's tail because the tails are pretty short, so I actually just dovetail it. I don't get rid of any length. Now coming in with my wood glue for my little floral rooster here. And I'll get a second helping of glue with my hot glue. And we are almost done, guys. The thing I like about this rooster is he can go any which way and better looks in the final reveal. Hey neighbors, just jumping in to ask if you are enjoying the video so far. I hope so. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and let's get back to crafting. Okay, our third and final project is this rusty chicken wall hanging. I'm going to start the rusting process using white vinegar, rubbing alcohol, and salt. And I'm just going to keep going back to it and adding one ingredient or two ingredients. And I left it there for a couple hours. I drizzled in some paint at one point. I'm not sure if that helped, but I was happy with the results. This charger, I believe it was a silver charger that I painted and tried to distress, and it's literally been sitting around for years. And to me, it looks dirty, and I'm like, did it get dirty, or did I mean for it to look like that? So I just came in with my Magnolia vintage white chalk paint, and I'm going to give it a fresh coat, and I think it looks much better. I'll set that off to the side when I'm done with the painting, and I'll work on the wood round. This is going to go in the center of the charger. Now, I honestly haven't done this for so long that I forget how I used to take the staples out, and I have a staple remover, but it never works. And I'm like, what did I use before? So I'm just using my utility knife to cut it off of the wood frame. And usually the Dollar Tree frames are pretty soft, so maybe this frame was just harder to work with, I'm not sure, but cutting the canvas off helped. And I just did all four edges, and then I was kind of left with the fold that I didn't really want to deal with, so I came in with my Hippo heat press. This is basically a crafting iron. And I'm just going to try and smooth down those edges before we continue. And I was low on parchment paper there, so you see me using a paper towel, and that works just fine. You just have to, take breaks and, make sure you're not burning the paper towel or anything like that. The fold marks still stayed, but it did make it a little bit easier to work with because it was nice and flat. But it worked out because I was able to get it pretty much without any of the folds being visible. So I'm just taking one of my acrylic paint markers from Funzels and tracing a circle on the back. And I'm going to cut right on the circle and even maybe a little bit inside it because I want this to fit almost perfectly. I really don't want to be messing around with it because I'm not even sure if sandpaper would work on that. So let me get some Mod Podge on here and then get this canvas on, and you'll see it fits on there pretty good. What I did do is use scissors to cut like little slivers of canvas off. But I did go over it with my Hippo heat press first, making sure it was going to stay on there good. And I just have the wood rounds sitting on top of a container so I can iron it easier. And looking at this, even at this stage, makes me want to try it again. So I'll probably be using canvas for backgrounds in my upcoming videos. I'm going to put a coat of Mod Podge on top of it just to protect it because it does have some shiny elements, like a little bit of gold, and I'm not sure if that would scratch off or not, so I just gave a nice coat of Mod Podge. Now I'm coming in with my rusty chicken and I hot glued it, but the Mod Podge is still wet and it did not really stay on there very well at all. It just kept moving around and everything. So I just kept holding on to it or making sure it was flat. Now I'm going to attach the wood round to the middle of the charger using my two glues. I believe that was all-purpose glue, and now my hot glue. Well, the rusty chicken is still on there, and that all-purpose glue dries pretty fast, so I really didn't have to wait. I decided it needed a little something because I'm going to do like florals and bow on top, and it just seemed top heavy, so I grabbed one of my words and put it on the bottom there, and I actually used some plastic clamps on it just to get it to stay because there's a bit of a curve on the edge there. But yeah, here's my here's the ribbons that I chose. The thick pink ribbon I've had forever, and that satiny pink ribbon comes from my Thistle Haul. I just decided I would staple those flowers on and ended up cracking the charger and panicked for a minute and then thought, oh, the bow's going to cover it, so we'll be okay. You can see the crack there. So I just kept on working. I was going to drill some holes in there for the hanging rope, but since there was a crack there, I decided not to use a hanging rope and just glue a sawtooth hanger on the back, and you'll get some great looks of this during the final reveal.